Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time. This book reframes America's origin story to explain the systems we live within today.
All right, let's get right into it. This is a really powerful work, and it all starts by asking this really fundamental question about how a country, any country, even thinks about itself.
So, what does happen? That question is right at the heart of the 1619 Project. It's basically asking us to, just for a minute, set aside the history we think we know and to think about a totally different starting point for the whole American story.
So what the book argues is that the story we usually tell ourselves, the one that starts in 1776, it's just incomplete. It's a story that leaves out this earlier and arguably more foundational date. And once you see it, well, it kind of changes everything.
And here, you can really see the central argument in action. On one hand, you've got 1776 and this beautiful ideal, right? All men are created equal. But then you have 1619, the reality. And by putting 1619 at the center, you start to see a nation that was founded on this massive contradiction. It was built on both freedom and slavery, right from the very beginning.
And that leads us to the book's core insight, which is huge. It argues that slavery wasn't just some kind of mistake or a flaw in an otherwise perfect system. No, it was the foundational system. Think of it like the country's original operating system, the code that shaped absolutely everything that came after.
And that's the crucial point Nikole Hannah-Jones makes here. This system, it was woven into the country's DNA before almost anything else we think of as American even existed. So it's not a footnote to the story. The book argues it is the story. In fact, the book goes further. It asserts that the nation's founding documents were actually written very carefully to protect slavery, a lot of times without even using the word. And this created something that, some historians argue wasn't really a democracy at all, but a slaveocracy.
Okay, so let's follow that thread. Because a system like that doesn't just disappear. It creates its own kind of logic, a whole set of incentives and rules of the game that has stuck around for centuries. I mean, it's still impacting us right now.
And the book is very specific. It points to American chattel slavery, this brutal system that turned people into property, literally stripping them of everything. It identifies that as the source code for the logic we're talking about.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The book traces that DNA, that source code, directly into one of the most powerful systems we have today, American capitalism. The argument is that the economic practices that were perfected on the plantation, well, they didn't just vanish, they evolved. And this created these feedback loops that we can still see today. Think about it. A culture that's focused on getting wealthy without doing the work yourself, a relentless drive to grow no matter the cost, and the exploitation of the powerless. These patterns just became normal. And the book argues that they helped build the kind of winner-take-all economy we see today, with huge wealth gaps and a really weak social safety net. It's a system whose roots, it argues, you can trace right back to the plantation. So if you need a way to kind of hold all this in your head, the book gives us this really powerful metaphor. It's like we're all living in a building, and we keep seeing all these cracks appear in the walls. But what we don't realize is that all those cracks are coming from a foundation that was never built right, a foundation we've never even really acknowledged. So when you reframe the story like this, it does something really important. It helps you see things differently, not just about the past, but about what history even is, and more importantly, who gets to decide which stories get told. Because history isn't just a list of things that happened, right? It's about how we think about what happened. A nation's origin story, the book says, is actually a form of power. It takes a really complex, messy past and simplifies it into this shared, often heroic identity. But that always means making choices about what to put in and what to leave out. And that's the ultimate challenge here. By digging up and showing us these roots, the 1619 Project really challenges us to see exactly how power has shaped our collective memory. It's basically a call to question the official stories we've all been told, and to maybe see, for the very first time, what a more complete, a more truthful picture of the American story could actually look like.
For the full, long-form deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.